today I'm going to talk to you about something that I've personally been through, something that I've had to deal with for a number of years now, and that is OCD. Now, when I say OCD, a lot of you will think it's something that people use in conversations to just say, well, I'm a bit OCD. I love things to be clean, I love things to be in order. But there are other types of OCD, extreme types of OCD, and that is when it becomes an illness, and then it's not just something that you can joke about or you can say that I have OCD. I had the most extreme cases of OCD. In my opinion, it was very extreme. There was just a lot going on in my head, and it was just out of control. And I wanted to make this video to put it out there, to tell people, to show people what I went through, and to give you an idea of what someone that you might know that acts like this, what they might be going through. Or I mean, if you're going through this, then you can see how I push myself to try and become better. So I'll start from the beginning. Basically, I had severe OCD from the age of 16, 17, and now I'm 23, so about 6-7 years I had quite severe OCD. Now, from a young age, I started off with little things, like the light switches. Every time I went into a room and I switched the light on, I had to switch it on and off again. And it started off like that, and then it got to the stage where I thought of a number that I liked, and in my case I liked the number 4 because that was how many people were in my family. And so I felt like when I went into a room I had to switch the light on 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and only then could I go on into that room. And if I didn't do it, I'd feel like something bad was going to happen. I didn't have an actual thing in my mind, but I knew that something would happen, and to protect myself and to protect people that I loved, I did it. And so it started off like that, and then they would think, this was when I was about 10, 11, that is when I started doing this. When I went to bed at night, if I had an image of a person I didn't like or that I thought was bad, I had to get out of the bed again and think of somebody that I admired or somebody that I looked up to, and then I could get in and that would be fine. And there were just things like that, which at that time I did it. I didn't think anything. It did get time consuming, I did get frustrated, like at night time when I wanted to go to bed and I couldn't, because in my head I had to get out again, or again the counting thing, I had to get out 4 times, and it was just absolutely time consuming. And some days it wasn't that bad, some days it was. And there was also another thing, noises, loud noises I could not take. Sometimes I'd be perfectly fine, and then sometimes something would trigger it off, and if I heard a loud noise it would echo in my head. And I don't even want to say this because I feel like I can't even look straight at the camera because I feel really embarrassed, and I feel like a lot of you won't know what I went through and what I still sometimes go through, and you'd think it's a joke. But I mean, that's actually how I felt. Loud noises would just really irritate me, and I just couldn't take it. And I'd feel like I was going mad. I felt like I just couldn't take it, and no one could understand why I was having that. It got to a stage where I ended up confined to my room because I felt like everything was dirty. Now, that started off when I was about 17. Before that, it was really just switching lights on and off, touching things more than the normal time, or something would happen and things like that. But then it got to the stage where I actually was scared to touch things. If someone had touched it, a person had touched it that I didn't like, it wasn't necessarily dirt that I was scared of. If something was dirty, as in if I saw mud, and if a normal person sees mud, they think that's dirty, or if someone with a different kind of OCD sees mud, they think that's dirty and they don't want to touch it. But mine was sort of, if a person that I didn't like touched that thing, then I couldn't touch it. And the people that I felt that were dirty and that I couldn't go near and I couldn't touch, and anything they touched I couldn't touch afterwards, were actually my family. They were my mum's dad, my granddad, and her sisters and her family. And it sort of got very, very difficult, especially for my parents, because I mean that was their family, and every time they came over I would actually make my mum clean the whole house, mop the floors, hoover everything, make them have showers, and I myself had to have a shower. And then it got to the stage where anything I saw them touch I would have to clean. If they sat on the sofa I couldn't sit there, I had to clean it. And it got to the stage where I just confined myself to my room or had to leave the house when they were over, and I just couldn't be here. And I felt like I was fine outside, I was okay, I could touch anything. But at home, anything that they had touched, in my OCD mind, I'd created something that if only they touched that I could not touch it. But anything relating to them, if the name of where they're from was mentioned, I would sort of panic and want to have a shower. If even I heard their voice, it was just very, very extreme and out of control. I got to the stage where I was actually confined to my room because I didn't know where they'd been and what they'd touched, so I couldn't trust my mum to tell me if they had touched that. So then I just stayed in my room, and it just got out of control. And to top that off, my auntie came to live with us, and that just sort of kicked it off, because I didn't have a problem with her, but she didn't know the extremeness of my OCD, so she would mention my granddad's name and the family's name, and she didn't know how it affected me. But obviously, because my OCD had created something that I couldn't hear their name, or I would have to have a shower, or I would become dirty in some way, she didn't know that, so she said it, and I hated her for doing that. I didn't think she was dirty, I just hated her for doing that, so I was confined to my room. And then I at least used to have headphones and really loud music, so I couldn't hear anything going on downstairs, because I didn't want to know if they'd mention anything. I'd have to have a bath. If someone so much as came up my stairs, I'd have to clean the stairs. No one could come in my room except my parents and my sister. Nobody else was allowed. And it just got very, very, very extreme. And it actually got to the stage where I started hearing like ticking in my ear, because I used to listen to headphones every morning, every night, because I didn't want to hear what was going on. I didn't want to hear anything that would make me want to have a shower. In my room or out of the house I was safe. Anywhere downstairs I was not safe. I couldn't, how I'm sat right now, I could not sit like this. I'm scared to go into my own kitchen. My parents had given me food. It just became a nightmare for me to be at home, because I felt like everything was contaminated inside the house. And it got to a point where I was just done. I couldn't take it anymore. My looks started suffering. I started feeling like I wasn't me anymore. It just got out of control. So my dad and my parents were very upset with me. My sister, she'd cried, my parents had cried, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I just have to get better. So I took the steps into first going into the kitchen, because before, when I had my chronic OCD, I used to literally walk like this because I didn't want to touch anything in case it had been touched by the certain people that I didn't want them to be touched by. And I just said to myself, no, I need to do this. So the first time I did it, I had a shower, and that's one thing I used to do. I used to have long showers, literally 2-hour showers, where I'd have to scrub every single. If I touched the sofa and I knew that they had touched that, or if I thought they had touched that, literally I would have to have a full shower, at least 2 hours, and then only then would I be clean. And so I forced myself to touch something that I knew that they probably had touched. like the telephone, and then I was like, no, it doesn't matter, I'm not dirty, I'm not. And then I was like, still in my head I was like, I am. So then I had to go and have a shower, and I did that a few times. And then one day I was like, no, I'm going to see what happens. I'm just going to see what happens. If anything happens to me, then I know that I was right all along. So then I touched something that they had touched. I went upstairs, I went to bed, and in my mind I was like, oh my god, now my bed's contaminated. But then I was like, no, just forget it. So I forgot it. The next day I got up and I was like, nothing's changed, I don't feel any different, everything's fine. I mean, I feel quite good that I did that. And then I told my parents, and they were very proud of me. They was like, look, this is a step forward. And then just by doing that, I convinced myself to go more out there. I started making my own food in the kitchen, not thinking about where they'd sat. If I knew they'd sat there, purposely try to go and sit there, so then I wouldn't have to think about it. And by doing that, and if a thought came into my mind like, I've got to count this 4 times, I completely ignored it. If I saw anything in my mind that I didn't like, and I still was getting out, I wasn't getting out of bed, I just got in, I thought, no, nothing's going to happen. And I did that for a while. And now I'm at the stage where I'm feeling a lot more better. I don't feel as if I need to have a shower every single time. Those thoughts are, I still get days where I do have to count things, and if I see something I don't like in my mind, I have to sort of touch that thing again, and it's not completely gone away. But I mean, now that I'm more aware of what's going on, and I've pushed myself to do things that I couldn't do before, I know that it's something that I can overcome, and something that I will overcome. It's took sort of half my life, all my life, I mean, since I was 11 years old, and then more extreme again when I was 17, so it's sort of stolen that life from me that I could have had. I still feel like I've not lost out. I mean, I graduated university with a 2-1, so I'm proud of that, and I managed to do that while suffering from this and in law, so I'm very proud of myself that I still managed to do that even with this, because I know a lot of people that go through things like this just find it hard to do anything. That's why I'm so grateful. My family's support, they helped me so much. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I could have come this far. I mean, with someone that has OCD, you shouldn't do things for them that sort of, what's the word, that sort of push their OCD to get bigger. Like, if my mum hadn't cleaned for me, a doctor would say, or someone would say, if she hadn't cleaned for me, maybe I wouldn't have had such bad OCD, and I would have had to get over it because she was sort of being strict with me. But the thing was that if she hadn't cleaned the house when I wanted her to, if she hadn't, you know, sort of told her family not to come over because I was at home and I didn't want them to be here, if she hadn't done those things, I don't feel like I would have been able to complete my degree. I wouldn't have been able to finish school. I wouldn't have been able to do half the things that I've done, so I'm glad she did that for me. It's not to say that it was right at all what I was doing. It was completely wrong of me to do what I was doing, to put my family through that. But I'm so grateful for their support, for them not giving up on me, for them helping me through this. I've still got a lot I need to do. I still haven't actually met my relatives, the people I told you about. I've still not met up with them. I've talked to them over the phone, which is a big achievement for me, but I've not met up with them. And I know that when I was younger I was fine. I used to see them all the time, and it does hurt me that I can't see them right now. But I'm becoming a lot better in the sense that I can hear their name, I can see a picture of them, I can talk to them on the phone if I have to, but I just can't see them at the moment. And I'm glad that they understand that too, because I know it must be frustrating for them because they don't know what's going on. It's frustrating for my parents because, I mean, especially for my mum, I mean, that's her dad, that's her family, and I know she is quite upset that that's the case. So I hope I can get better, carry on getting better. hopefully see them one day, and you know, not have any weird thoughts, and hopefully stop completely counting things, stop completely picking. I'd love for that to happen, and I'm sure hopefully one day it will, because I have let this take control of my life for too long now, and I do want it to completely go away, but I know it's not something that I can do just like that. And these steps that I have been taking to overcome, I started taking in 2013, at the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, and now it's 2014, and I do feel like I have come a long way, and I hope to carry on and improve. There are a lot of ways you can get help, professional help from doctors. You can go see psychiatrists, you can get tablets, you can get medicine, but I sort of wanted to do this by myself. I didn't want any of that. I just pushed myself and overcame the things that I was scared of. Not completely, but like I said, on the right steps to overcoming it, and I don't think I need professional help. I feel like I can do this. And that's why I want to tell any of you that are going through this. You might have something similar, something completely different, but along the same lines. I just want to say it is possible. If you want to change, you can. It's all about wanting to change. If you don't want to change and you make yourself believe, no, I'm happy like this, there's no way you can be happy like that. But if you tell yourself, look, I'm going to stay like this, then you will. Then there's nothing anybody can do. But if you push yourself and tell yourself, no, I'm going to change, you can. I mean, just try it. If, like me, you think you don't like things to be dirty, just touch mud. Just touch it. See what will happen. Nothing's going to happen. If you feel like, you don't like somebody and they've touched something and you don't want to touch that, just go and touch it. What will happen? Nothing will happen. Once you do this a few times, you'll realise that any thoughts you have are completely extreme, and they're just negative. Just take the negative thoughts out of your mind completely and just focus on the positives. If you've not been to college and you would love to go. Just go and get out there. Do the things that you want to do the things that make you happy. And the negative thoughts that you have in your mind will just go. I mean, I've always wanted to do YouTube videos, to do fashion videos. I love fashion, so this year I decided to do that, and I couldn't do that when I had my OCD because I was too busy thinking about other things. But this year I actually started my YouTube channel where I make fashion videos, hair videos, and I don't know, it just makes me happy. Throw yourself into something that makes you happy, and these negative thoughts will go away. And just say no to any negative thoughts that you get, and try and do it without doctors, try and do it without psychologists. If you need that, then go get it. But I mean, I definitely recommend trying to do it on your own, because it's all the more rewarding, it's all the more that you did this, that you overcame this yourself. And if you know anybody that's suffering from OCD, that has some of these symptoms, and you don't know what it is, please, I know it's hard to understand, but please try and be supportive. Please try and help them, because at the end of the day, the people that are going through this would love to be able to stop, but they just can't. And I know this from experience. It's so easy for someone not to be going through this to say, well, why can't you just stop? But it's very hard. It is an illness, mental illness. It's something that in your brain, how your brain's wired, it's just you think completely different to a normal person. Well, I wouldn't personally class myself as normal in that way. I'd say there was definitely something wrong with me, so please be supportive. Do not sort of get angry. Try not to get angry. I know it's frustrating for the people that have daughters, sons, you know, people that are responsible for going through this, or anybody, you know, I know it's very difficult for them because they don't understand it. But I mean, just try and be as supportive as you can, and keep pushing them to try and get better. Talk to them and give them the different options about going to the doctor. trying to do it themselves and help them in any way you can, and hopefully they will come around, because I know how hard it was for my parents and my sister. I put them through so much, and every day it makes me really sad that they had to go through all that, because it wasn't just me suffering, it was sort of them suffering along with me. So when I started overcoming this and seeing how happy they were, it just made me so happy. So please, if you are going through something like this, try and get better. If not for yourself, do it for the people, that your loved ones who you are putting through this, because I mean, it affects them too, to see you so unhappy. Also, you need them to do things for you, but also if you're stuck in a room by yourself and you don't want contact with anybody, think about how it makes them feel. So yeah, that's all I've got to say for today. I hope this video was helpful in any way, and yeah, thank you for watching.